Hey guys, gals, everybody. Thanks for joining me on another Friday evening live stream. It's a double live stream day. I don't know if you guys caught the earlier live stream today with Daniel Carmen at Over the Rainbow. We did one this morning. I went to bed, wake up, first thing, get my coffee, and I'm back to hang out with you guys again. Thanks for the mustache really is coming in. I'm really digging it. I'm feeling it now. Missing the ginger ale. Well, it is. I think it's like 7:50 a.m. or something like that right now. So maybe a little later on in the afternoon. I need one of those mustache mugs, ceramic mugs with. I don't know. I think a real mustache is the way to go. I got my Fire King mug today. I got here. Again, you guys can't see it, but it's actually a lot of glare going on. My screen is not. I put my screen brightness to maximum, but it's like really bright outside, so it's hard to see what's going on here. What I thought you were doing the Hulk Hogan. There we go. Canadian McDonald's vintage Fire King mug. Look at that. The Hulkster. I need to put on a lot more weight than I could put on, and muscle weight, not just me getting chubbier as I am. I eat a lot of junk food. It's not great, but it is great if you think about it. I'll let the room populate a little bit more, and I can answer some of you guys' questions. How's Brandon doing? Brandon's doing good. Just as good as anybody else could be doing at this time. One thing I realized the other day was I landed back in Japan at the end of February, and hey Dan, thanks for joining. End of February, all of March, we're pretty much done April. This is the longest time in probably, the longest time in like 10 years of my life where I'm like, oh, I'm going to be home for 3 weeks. And that was like, that was very nice. Now it's been like, we've been home for a while, and I'm like, wow, I haven't been on an airplane in a while. And I wonder when the next time I'm going to be on an airplane is. Hopefully sooner than later. Once this whole thing passes us by, I suspect things will be better sooner than later as well. Hey mom. Hopefully June, July, I would imagine. We got to get back to. Anyways, we'll once. I don't know. Also, trade show season. I'm pretty sure that, just for anybody who's watching here, I'm pretty sure that trade show season is pretty much canceled. So our trade shows usually start in Paris in June, at the end of June, and then New York sometime in July, usually like mid-July. And then Vegas in mid-August. Now, from what I've heard from the industry is that they plan on moving everything. Paris, I don't know what's going on with Paris, but the American shows like New York and Vegas, they're planning on moving that up to September, when the women's shows are scheduled to still be happening. But I wonder, it's just the way the men's and the women's markets are separated. Also, I think it's kind of dumb. Because delivery for those garments, like spring summer 21, for example, for men's, we're showing in like June, July, and usually actually by the end of July we've already pretty much had everything planned out, and then we're still collecting a few orders in August when we go to Vegas, but we kind of know already what we're, in terms of production, we've planned out. But if the start of your shows is in September, and you need to start delivering those goods in January, February, that doesn't give you a lot of time. It must be very difficult for the typical women's market to hit early delivery dates, or maybe they're just shipping later. But we like to deliver spring product in like January, February, maybe even into like early March. And fall product starts shipping to retailers in August, September, a little bit October. Sometimes we start to ship a little bit of product as early as like late July. When will the Batman stuff happen? Has Corona delayed it? So far, it hasn't really delayed anything. The planned release is for like a November, December, maybe into January kind of release. So each character will have its own release. Um, we're yeah. So far, everything seems okay. I mean, if our factories don't open in the next, I would say, 2 months, then we might run into some. Well, we're definitely going to run into some delays. So, fingers crossed, we're allowed to like start opening up a little bit, um, and we'll take it from there. Hey, Evan, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining from Malaysia. Are you releasing a Joker denim or Robin? We're so I can talk to you a little bit about what we're planning out. Can you reveal any characters other than obvious ones like Batman and Joker? Yeah, actually, today I had the button imagery lined up for you guys, so I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what, in terms of characters, what we're planning. So, obviously, we've got the Batman, we've got the Joker. The collection as a whole is going to be developed around kind of key moments in Batman history. So, we're starting off with the Caped Crusader salvage. So, Adam West era, Batman and Robin. So it's a Batman and Robin themed gene that will be one of the collection items. So we're calling it the Caped Crusader salvage. Then we've got the Dark Knight salvage, based off the Frank Miller Dark Knight era, comic book franchise. Comic book franchise. Batman is the comic book franchise, but the comic book arc. Yeah, the Adam West stuff is for me. It's like you don't really see a lot of Batman product made around that era of Batman stuff, and I actually grew. I mean, I'm old enough to have grown up with that stuff in reruns. They don't. I don't know if they play that. Like when I was a kid, that. Interestingly enough, when I was a kid, a lot of like 60s and 70s programming was still. I was growing up, as a child in the 80s. A lot of that programming was still on television, and whereas I don't actually have cable, so I don't know what kids are watching today. But like, are they watching Fresh Prince and like Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Like, are those programs on for kids nowadays? I'm not really sure. But yeah, I used to love that. Batman. That live action Batman, it was fun to watch. It's comical, and the characters were always very over the top. And man, I remember there was a crossover with Green Lantern, and Bruce Lee was actually in was it more than one episode? I don't remember how many episodes it was, but Bruce Lee as Kato was on Batman. So I thought that was, as a kid, I thought that was pretty cool. But you'd see Robin beating up Bruce Lee sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know about that one. Anyhow, so we've got the Caped Crusader salvage. Then we've got the Dark Knight salvage. Following up with the Joker Killing Joke salvage, so based off the Killing Joke arc. And then we've got the Harley Quinn Mad Love salvage. So I was gonna have a surprise character. You know what? It's okay. That's all the cats out of the bag right there. We need a Penguin and Batman return so that we can have Danny DeVito denim. That would be pretty funny. Calling me Killer Croc, a salty slub, scaly slub salvage. Penguin denim, black with white web. I mean, there's so many characters that we could have went with, but I think that we picked some of the most influential kind of arcs in the series. Nightfall, Batman getting his back broken, Azrael, kind of rising up from that, and the kind of the Bane, Bane becoming a thing. I remember that was huge when I was a kid. Batman. It was kind of like at the time when like Superman is dead, Batman's dead. I'm like, no, Batman's his back is just destroyed. And I remember going to the comic book shops and that image of Bane just destroying Batman. That was pretty cool. We've got the Mad Love. Harley Quinn introduction, so I think that's pretty neat. Harley Quinn was an introduction to the Batman franchise through the animated series. which was another program I really loved as a child. There was a great movie, Mask of the Phantasm. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that animated film, but it was really, really good. So we're excited to have such a kind of diverse collection of Batman characters, and I wanted to show you guys the buttons. Core series that's black instead of blue denim. Core I'm not sure. Tell me about Bane. Why does he wear the mask? A lot of loyalty for a high dude. What happened? What was that line in the film? It's like, when will it hurt if I remove the mask? It will be very painful for you. What's the Harley Quinn denim? It's gonna be based off the Mad Love arc. So there's a comic arc, and I'm going to show you guys some of the buttons that we have designed. So I have them loaded up. I know last week I promised to show you guys, so give me a second here. I'll show you what we've got going on. Load them. Here we go. So do I have all the buttons here? I think I'm not. I don't have everything. I'm missing the Bane button, but you guys can see it. I'll show it to you guys when I get it. So let's start off with the. That voice was so creepy. I had a pretty good Bane impression, or bad. I don't know. I really just enjoy that scene when they chop that airplane in half. And if you watch the which one that was not Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, the third one. Hold on. Now, let me show you the buttons, then I'm going to remember the movie order. Hold on, let me get to my movies. Now it's bugging me. Batman. So here's my Batman movies. Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. So this one here. Just you gotta watch these if you haven't seen them. Fantastic. I also got some of the animated movies. Whole Batman, Superman set. Anyways, big fan, as you can see. I don't have Mask of the Phantasm, though. I should probably get it. Anyways. Okay, so let's check out the Batman button. So we're going to start here with the Caped Crusader. So the button is based off of the bat signal from the original Batman. So you can see there, it'll be like a goldy kind of color, and you can see it's embossed with the Batman symbol, the bat signal. Right, then we've got, for the Dark Knight, it's the bat symbol for the Dark Knight. It's a good idea of what's happening here. Wait a second, if we're talking influential, will Red Hood be an option? Death of Jason Todd was mad influential. You know, I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's the Harley Quinn button. It'll be, it's gonna be like black metal. And for Joker. So, need the inside of those Batman 66 pockets to be bat pockets. You'll see. We have a... going back out on the balcony here. So, yeah, we're planning out the Dark Knight Returns needs to have a comic panel on the pocket like you did for Toxic Avenger. The one trade-off that we're doing for the Batman jeans is that the inside pockets are going to be a little bit more basic than what we've done with some of the other collaborations. And the reason for that is because each jean is going to have its own button. Okay, what about Dark Knight Returns and Bane buttons? The Bane button, I didn't have it ready yet, but I did show off the Dark Knight button. So it was in order. It was the Caped Crusader, then it was the Dark Knight, then it was Mad Love for Harley Quinn, and then Joker. So the Nightfall logo, you can find. If you, it's going to be the Nightfall logo from that arc. That's what the button is going to be for Bane. So that'll be coming. Hopefully, I'll have the 3D of that soon that I can show you. But that's what the plan is. Can you guys see me? Okay. Give me a thumbs up if the connection is still good. Okay. So, hey, Bayzad, any tips for small businesses during this time? Be active. Be active on social media. And just kind of be there for your fans and your supporters. I think a lot of people are struggling right now, and it's it's kind of hard because I see there's the right way and there's the wrong way, and I see people who are like they're not. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I'm sure you see people who are kind of, I don't know what to say here. Be active. Be a member of your community. And don't. One thing I've mentioned to people before, because people ask me like, how can they support us during this time? And I say, well, if you can shop, then shop. But if you can't shop, that's okay, because I understand that not everybody is in the position to be shopping right now. So that said, if you want to, a great way to support us is by, telling a friend. That's always been, that's always helped us, and that type of word of mouth goes a lot further sometimes than just shopping, So, Be a member of your community, and your community will reciprocate. And if you're genuine about it, then they're absolutely going to reciprocate, and you won't even have to. You don't have to ask. People like to talk about things that they like, and I think I talked about it earlier today with Dan, and it's like, if you like something, you should tell your friends about it, because that's I don't know, it's the right thing to do. So, in this time, if you're a small business, be active, be a member of your community, and your community will reciprocate for sure. Hey, Bayzad, any info on the Batman collection fall winter 2020? I was just talking about it. Maybe you tuned in a little late, but I'll talk about it again in a few minutes. How many characters are planned for Batman? We've got the Adam West era. We're going to call it the Caped Crusader Salvage. We've got the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight Salvage. We've got the Joker, Killing Joke Salvage. We've got the Bane Nightfall Salvage, and we've got the Harley Quinn Mad Love Salvage. 5 releases. Mortal Kombat updates. No updates on that. It's just that it is in the pipeline. That's looking like it's going to happen for fall winter 21. So that's what's happening there. How many jackets planned? We have 2 jackets planned. One will be for Nightfall. The other one will be for Joker. So those are going to be like the Ghostbusters jackets with the chenille embroidery on the back. We're not going to do a chain stitch one. Maybe we will. I don't know. If we do a chain stitch one, expect the price to be like the Ghostbusters chain stitch one, where it's going to be like $800. So that's not for everybody. But the other jackets they're going to be pricey as well, in the upper threes. but that's kind of expected with the embroidery along with the custom fabric and all that jazz. So the designs are going to be pretty cool. So I'll keep you posted with the finalizations of all of that. Any Supima? Not at the moment. Though I would like to use some Supima again in future collections. Banner jacket news. So the banner jacket is delayed as many things are delayed. As soon as our factories are up and open again, then I can take a look at the production schedule and see where we can fit in room for that banner jacket. Literally, I mean the shutdown just it threw a monkey wrench in all of our production planning. So yeah. Wow, mustache. Yeah, don't you like it? I like it. I'm a big fan of this. You don't see a lot of mustaches out there, except I have found that, interestingly enough, a lot of my friends, I'll do like one of these Skype calls or video calls and WhatsApp call, that kind of stuff. And tune in, they all got mustaches. Garrett at Tate's rocking a great mustache for low. He's been rocking a mustache for a long time. Steve in New York, he's been rocking a mustache. My friend Evan in Toronto, he's a former Naked and Famous employee. He's been killing it with the mustaches. So let's all. I want to have a cop mustache. That porn stash, mustache, cop stash, that kind of thing going on. So yeah, Super Trooper style. Thank you for the Tati Nyoko promotion and sales. You're very welcome. Pull it off, dude. Digging the stash. I'm sure you can pull it off well too. Throw one on. Brandon still have the stash. Brandon is in and out. Sometimes he has it. Sometimes he doesn't. Oh yeah, my mom's saying my uncle. My uncle's got a killer mustache. Really, oof. He's got like one of those. Burt Reynolds kind of mustaches, big and strong. So anyway, I'm trying to get there. My uncle's a big, strong man, so he needs a big, strong mustache to go with it. Mothra Denim. I mean, I think a Godzilla collection would be pretty cool down the line. We did talk to Toho once, very briefly, but I think that when the time comes, that opportunity will be there. Super Trooper, haven't heard that band name in ages. Well, the movie Super Troopers, Super Troopers 2 kind of takes place in Vermont is not very, a lot of people from Montreal go to Vermont for like their vacation homes and things like that, and Brandon does all the time. So there's a lot of I love Super Troopers. Brandon also loves Super Troopers as one of his favorite movies, if not his favorite movie. And Super Troopers 2 actually takes place kind of around French Canada. So it's if you're from, it's funny, but if you're from that area, then it's especially funny because there are certain aspects to the jokes there that you would get if you understood the region. Final Fantasy crossover. Oh man, that would be which one? I mean, man, Final Fantasy VI Denim would be amazing. There's so many great properties and franchises out there, and we've lined up some fantastic ones for you, and I'm really looking forward to releasing the ones that we have. And then once we're kind of done with this, I think for the next 2 years we've really lined up a lot of fantastic things. So after that, we'll start to revisit, some projects for the future. Will the New York NYC flagship jean have an orange and blue selvage ID? You're just gonna have to wait for that. We really need a Shrek crossover. Yeah, and then I'll get Smash Mouth to introduce it for us. Jurassic Park would be cool. Man, these are all. I'm a movie guy, so you guys don't understand how many things I would love to do in this world. I mean, you saw a little bit of my movie collection there, and in fact, that's not even. There's more. I don't even have room to put it all. Like we were organizing movies the other day, and it's just like we constantly run out of shelf space, and we want to have our movies all on display, and it's hard because there's almost 1,500 movies, and that doesn't. I mean, oh, I also collect games, and there's probably another 700 or so games that I have to put somewhere, and Lord knows where I'm gonna put that right now. So we have to figure all that stuff out. So video games and movies and nostalgia, and that's my wheelhouse. All right. I know I missed a couple of questions here. Mothra is lame. We need a Mecha Godzilla or a Gigan. Yeah, or a King Ghidorah. I'm a King Ghidorah fan. Mecha Godzilla also. I have a lot of Mecha Godzilla figures. I do enjoy Mecha Godzilla a lot. Also like Burning Godzilla. 1984. No, 19. Jeez. The titles are I'm missing them now, but it was like more 80s 90s one where Godzilla's like melting down, and there's a couple of great 1980 19 anyways, my brain's farting right now, but if you're a Godzilla fan, a better one than me because I can't remember the titles, there's that scene when in the whole film, like, Godzilla is getting hotter and hotter, and there's one point where he's just friggin' melting down, and there's a couple of really great action figures based on that scene. I got a pretty cool one the other day. There's a NECA Toys one that I got. It was really cool. If you like toys, NECA, NECA, NECA Toys makes a lot. They have a Ninja Turtles line right now that is so cool, and I really want it, but I'm not much of a toy collector, mostly because I fear that if I go down that rabbit hole, it's just going to be all my money is going to go there, and I don't have room for it. That's the actual problem. All right. Universal Monster Movie Denim. That would be cool if we did a whole series. Speaking of that, I have a great Universal Monster Movies Blu-ray set. Very, very happy to get that. Character, any chance of a heavyweight denim that is also Uniqlo colored? I don't know what Uniqlo colored. Like heavyweight green core or something? Oh, a heavyweight color core will probably happen down the line. I could see that happening. I used to collect Transformers when I was a teenager, and it was an expensive hobby. Yeah, Transformers that's a very expensive hobby to get into. I really want a Megaplex figure. I also, it's one of those things, like, there's a couple of really, really great vintage toy stores here in Tokyo, and there's one called Mandarake, and they're like a chain of vintage kind of everything stores. So like one location is for like vintage toys, another one's for vintage robots, another one's for music, another one's for movies. And so they kind of sell. They're in the business of vintage everything, comic books and all that kind of stuff. So I love going in there because they have just the most incredible collection of old Transformers, and I wish I could have them all. Or even afford them all. Some of them are very expensive, but it's fun to look at them for sure. Especially the G1s and all that original stuff. Toy collecting is no joke. You got to be rich for that shit. Some of it is really expensive. And I mean, because I think part of it is like you get obsessed with, like, do I want it in box? Do I want it on card? That kind of thing. Like, I like watching a lot of YouTube channels dedicated to like toys and things like that. Maybe I get my fix by just watching other people collect and talk about toys. Then I don't have to. But I really do enjoy owning some of those things. It's just, you got to be careful with all the collections you have. At some point you got to store it, put it somewhere, and maintain it. And I've got too many collections going on right now that are sometimes a little out of control. And the other thing is I never sell anything. That's not necessarily true. Some Blu-rays and things like that, duplicates, I do eventually sell, or sometimes I like to buy movies in lots, and sometimes you luck out. Some people know what they have sometimes, and they're selling kind of some rare movies in there, and you get them, and then you sell it some of the duplicates and expensive ones. Some of the duplicates and expensive pieces I already have. Duplicates I have obviously, but the more rare movies in those lots I might already own, and then I buy the whole lot knowing that I can sell the one movie to pay for the entire rest of the lot. So I try to keep my movie budget in check, but sometimes you gotta spend dough on that collector set. Anyways, movie and toy collecting is crazy, and game collecting's. I try to only spend not a lot of money on that. Anyways, back to denim talk. But I know a lot of this is cross talk because of the collaborations and things like that. So, hello from Indonesia. Thanks for joining. Akira collab down the line. That is one of the most requested things. That and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Coco's. Thinking of that Disney movie. Any collabs with artists? That could be fun. Hello from Detroit. Yeah, I think that could be fun. I would want to pick, like we do with we actually have something planned with Rock and Jelly Bean. So we are going to do something with Rock and Jelly Bean again. For those who don't know, Rock and Jelly Bean, he does a lot of this kind of psychobilly artwork. A lot of like the brand Erostica that we carry at Tate and Yoko. That's his brand. So a lot of his artwork is featured there as well. Speaking of collections, I collect artwork from him as well. So I'm a big fan of his, and we have a personal relationship with him. So I think that'll be our next artist collab. But in terms of other artist collabs, yeah, I think we would down the line. I don't know how these things work. I'm sure that like some of the bigger names that you might see that do a lot of like streetwear collaborations, it might just be a pretty, I don't know. I'm sure they're approachable, but I wonder if we were to do something with one of these artists, you might be limited to like artwork or designs that they kind of have, and not so much something that they would create new for you. Or if they do, that might be just so cost prohibitive that it wouldn't make sense. I know some of these guys are very famous, and their artwork sells for lots and lots and lots of money. So, and I wonder if maybe it would be that exciting, because I know some of the more famous, especially in streetwear ones, they've done a lot of collaborations with a lot of different brands already. So has that already been, but then again, I don't know. I mean, I wonder how it would go. The answer is I wouldn't rule it out, but obviously I would want to work with an artist that we know, that we really appreciate. Yeah, and if we can get artwork made for us, that would really set it apart. We need some collabs with other Japanese denim brands. I think it's time for another Burgess Plus and or Big John collab. Yeah, I mean, those will happen down the line. We're very good friends with those two brands, which is why we stock them at Tate and Yoko. Although we haven't restocked Big John in a while. The Burgess collab that will happen again. I mean, we've done a few of them with them. We'll probably do we'll definitely do another Kamikaze Attack collab down the line. So you can expect that. You can expect that again for sure. Do you make custom? Do you make customs with patches, for example? Customs with patches. I don't know what that means. Maybe you can elaborate on that question a little bit more. I do patterns and prints, and I have a cool friend that does these cool citizen aliens. We'd love to have it printed on the inside of a denim or something. He can do the art for you. Well, send me a message. You never know. I mean, as is, our plate is very full right now with projects. So this is something that I always like to be introduced to artists, and especially artists that are fans of the brand, because we do have art projects that we need every now and then. So just having, knowing more and more artists is a great thing for us. And when it comes time to do a special project, we can always reach out and work with the people that we know. Did the jeans also get delayed? Well, right now, fall winter 20 is we'll probably have some delays. If we don't open up in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see where we're at with that. Of course, I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. So fabric at this point has not been delayed, and that's shipping from Japan. Japan's denim region is still open and operating, so that hasn't hurt us. But you never know what happens with shipping. I don't know what's going on with the ports and things like that. There might be delays there. And of course, if our factory isn't open, then we can't cut and sew anything. So that may delay some things there. I suspect across the world we're going to see a very weird fall-winter 20 season, and that'll also carry into spring-summer 21. A lot of retailers haven't. Some retailers, they've scaled back their fall orders just because they know they're going to have inventory left over from the spring, so it's hard for them to bring on more goods when they're going to have to deal with their current inventory situation. So that's definitely happening, and it's like that's one thing that we a lot of people don't realize, that the suppliers are all, it's not like everybody. We're not selling fruit. There's no expiry date on jeans, so it'll eventually all move. So I'm not worried about that in that respect. So, but retailers, they have their inventory, they have budgets that they have for seasons, that they have an expected kind of turn on the products that they've brought in. So if they're not getting that turn, then there's no money for down the line receipts. So yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a weird fall season. I think we'll see what happens, but it's strange times we're in. How do you guys planning on recycling leather packs? I actually use them for like smaller leather crafts in like, for example, we've made like leather. It's stuff that we use around the office sometimes, like leather patch mats and things like that. So sometimes we'll apply them onto like tote bags and things like that. So we reuse them. Would Naked and Famous ever put arcuates on the back pockets? If so, what would they be? I don't think we would. I like that we don't, and at the same time, I think if we did, then there might be a little bit more brand recognition. But at the same time, we would lose the fact that we were a brand that didn't do that. So it's kind of like how do you balance that out? We've been very successful without it, so maybe we don't need it. But at the same time, it's it is one of those things that I'm like I wouldn't mind having some kind of a little bit more recognizable thing on the garment. I don't know if arcuates would be it, but I don't know what else it could be. I also don't like. Generally, I don't, unless it comes from a very specific brand. I'm not a fan of arcs, so I don't think we ever would. But yeah, the business side of me is like, oh, well, how can we make our brand more recognizable? And that's just one of those things that pops into your head. And then it's like, well, that doesn't really mesh well with our current DNA. So we're not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we ever would. So I guess that's the answer to that. You guys should give the option to have different patches come available with the denim, so you could get a natural veg tan. Right, actually we do. So, well, no, we don't. We do that for the vegan leather, but I think down the line we will have. I want to, and this is probably a project for like down the line. I wanted to create more pop art imagery for our leather patches, so that people could pick a pop art character person that represents them. So I wanted to have like a United Nations of colors, of creeds, of people that we could have, and that would be a big project, because we'd obviously have to design a lot of different graphics. So a pop art character that represents you, I think, would be a really fun idea, and I think eventually it'll happen, and I've already talked about it, and I've even talked about it with a lot of retailers, and I think they all like the idea as well. And it would be something where you could buy the jean, and then for like a small charge, we could change the leather patch to have a personalized patch, so to speak. So I think that will be something that'll happen eventually. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. But I think one day we could have something like that going, and I think it would be a lot of fun and a good way to personalize your jean. Do you ever offer leather patches? Yeah, we could probably do small leather crafts with that stuff. I'll see what we have. There's not much. I mean, I remember, we have a little box in the factory of like, just patches that we use for like small recycling projects. So it's not like we have thousands of these. There might be tens or dozens of them, but there's not that many sitting in our warehouse. Who created the pop art logo? Good question. I don't know. And I think Brandon doesn't remember either. I remember asking him about this, and he paid an artist, and he just genuinely doesn't remember. So it's one of those. I'm sure. Actually, it would be very hard to even find out. Maybe if the artist is watching this, you could reach out to us. But I remember we've changed email servers over the years, and all of like the early day emails, like those are gone. And I remember like a year and a bit ago, like Brandon's old computer just fried, and his hard drive was dust, like literally dust. And there's a lot of not crap. There's a lot of stuff on there that was like photos and things like that were not backed up, and those are gone forever. So I actually don't know who made that original artwork, and it would be fun to know who did. Would love a recycled Toxie patch keychain. That would be kind of cool. You guys do collabs. We do all kinds of collabs. But you know what the odd, here's that particular question. I get that a lot on Instagram, and it's usually like, I don't know what your intention is with that question, but a lot of influencers are like, hey, do you guys do collabs? And it's like, ugh. Like, I don't know if there's a script or if there's like a YouTube video that these people watch who want to become like influencers, and they're like, yeah, here's what you should do, but it's so generic. Literally the questions that I get from these folks are almost always word for word exactly the same. And then you go on their page and they have like 400 followers, and it's like, ugh. So I honestly, I almost never answer them unless they're, sometimes like literally it's like, yeah, I have like 9 followers, and they're like, hey, can we do a partnership, and you can send me jeans and I'll do an Instagram post about them. And I'm like, you know what, I don't even answer those, but sometimes some of them are so ridiculous that I have to answer them. Like, are you serious? Like, and that's not how you do this, So anyways, I don't know if there's a script out there for people who want to be influencers. And if you are one of those people who are watching this, forget the script. You know what you do if you really want people to notice you? Create lots of very, very good content and they'll come to you. It doesn't work the other way around. The only people who go that direction are people that are probably not very, their products are probably not that interesting anyways. So get your camera skills up, get your photography skills up, start creating compelling, interesting, beautiful art, and the people will follow. They'll follow you. I can't imagine it works ever the other way around. Release the WF. It's so rare, and it's such a fascinating denim. Plus, I feel like it could make a good jacket. That could be fun. I remember that jean back in the day must have been like, $700 or $800 retail. It was a very expensive fabric at the time. Mind you, I think back in the day, some of the ultra rare fabrics that we were using, we were still green in terms of the suppliers that we worked with. And I think some people might have used our naivety to sell us fabrics that maybe we could have found somewhere else for a lot better a price. We've actually, that's actually one of the things, from back in the day that I remember and being kind of rudely awakened to, was the fact that some people would represent themselves as mills when they weren't mills, and we would find the fabrics that they were selling us direct from the actual mill that was making it, and sometimes for half the price. And I can certainly say with confidence now that our pricing has, because of our direct approach, we've genuinely been able to keep our prices down and low. And some people wonder, how are our prices so good? I mean, I've talked about it, in depth so many times, but being keen-eyed and paying attention to what suppliers are offering what, that's certainly helped us avoid people who are trying to misrepresent. And it's funny, there's so many people out there misrepresenting themselves in the textile world. I've had people, and it was just despicable people who've tried to attempted to pull the wool over our eyes. And I remember this one time we were at a trade show, and nothing kind of annoys me the most at a trade show is when this is the Diesel Jeans live stream, right? Yeah, I'll talk about this. Funny, but anyway, I'll get to that comment. It's funny. But people will come to the trade shows where we've paid to travel to this show. We've paid for the booth. We pay for our hotels and our staff. It's myself, my wife, Risa, Brandon. Sometimes Carrie is there. And, back in the days, we do, like Evan, if you guys, some people may remember Evan. I've talked about him a little bit here. We'd have a whole crew, we're spending thousands of dollars to be at a show. And some guy comes to us to sell us something. And it's like, we're here to meet with our customers. We're not here to be solicited to. And we've had people who pretend, or they may be a sales agent from a mill. And, mills, they sell directly, and then they have agents and salespeople and things like that. And I had this one guy come into our booth, and he was just like, "Where are you buying this fabric from?" And I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like, "I sell this fabric, and you're not buying it from me. You have to buy it from me." And I'm like, "Get the F out of my booth. Why are you here to berate me?" And he's like, "I'm going to tell the supplier." I'm like, "Go tell them all you want. They're selling it to me." What value would you provide to me as we deal with the mills directly, and for some reason you want me to buy things through you so that you can get a middleman cut and cut our communications with the mill in half? Are you out of your mind? Anyways, things like this have happened, and it's so odd. And I know that other brands and other people might be fooled by some of these people. And anyways, if they're providing them with a good service, then all the power to them. But for us, we try to deal as direct as possible, cut out as many middlemen as possible, so that we don't artificially. There's no value in paying in my opinion, there's no value in paying a middleman a fee on top of the cost of the item, because it doesn't make the cost of that item, it doesn't make the value of the product any better. It's fluff, but you have to put the cost of that into the product that you're selling, and just because now your products are more expensive, and it doesn't make them any better. If our products are expensive or pricier, there's a reason for it, and I can assure you that very little of that has to do with middlemen that we deal with. So take that to the bank. Is this the Diesel Jeans live stream? That's one of my anytime I walk into a retail store that I'm aware, that I'm friends with, obviously, the first thing I do is I open the door, and if they don't notice it's me, I'll kind of scream out. I'm like, "Do you guys sell Diesel brand jeans here?" And that's partially because I used to work for Diesel, and there's a great SNL skit called Jeffries, a very old one. Will Ferrell's in it, and it's just one of those lines that I forget who said it, but it was just one of those lines from that where somebody walks in the store and is like, "Do you guys sell Diesel brand jeans here?" And when I worked at Diesel, I'd have my friends, and they throw that line at me all the time. So it's just kind of a running inside joke that I have with my friends and Diesel and our retail friends. And so, anyways, I love that sketch. It's so funny. It's my favorite sketch, mostly because it really hit home, in terms of where I was working and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Good old days at the Diesel brand. Do you guys have Diesel brand jeans here? I own a lot of Diesel brand jeans, by the way. Many years working with them, so the apparel piled up for sure. I don't think I could fit even a single pair of them anymore. Yeah, Renzo Russo. I never got to meet him, but what's his name? Oh my god. I can't remember his name now. There was the VP of Diesel. Anyways, he was the editor of WAD magazine. It was a French fashion magazine that we got pretty close to. So he was the editor of WAD, and then he was the creative director or VP of Diesel. And I got to have a dinner with him one time through WAD, because we were very close with the people at WAD, WAD magazine at the time. And it was it was interesting to me, because I remember working at Diesel and being like, and I left Diesel to work for Naked and Famous, and a few years later I was having this kind of fun dinner with the people at WAD and this guy, really high up guy at Diesel, and it was like, had I stayed at Diesel, I would have never had this opportunity to sit down and meet this person, and that's, of course I had some great opportunities at Diesel Canada as well. I went to some great events and met a lot of very, very interesting people and famous people, and was invited. We got invited to a lot of great things. I have to say that my time there was very, they treated me very well, but there's only so much in a big company. There's only so much you can do to move up. So I took an opportunity to expand my love of denim and be on this side of the world of denim, and I love having this opportunity to influence product that is actually coming out to the market. They used to be better. They had interesting style names, and some of the fits were cool, or the sewing techniques were cool. Diesel, for a wash denim brand, I have to say that they are, and I don't think anyone will ever dethrone them in terms of making an incredible washed denim product. They're very innovative in terms of the washing that they did, the distressing that they did. Some of it was maybe to the current standard might be a little bit tacky, but then again, I see some fashion brands doing some really junk washes, and I see what Diesel's done, and like you look at it, and like some of it looks natural, some of it just looks like, they look like washed jeans, but they've been doing it for a long time. They've mastered it, and for the price and the quality, actually, I don't know what it's like right now. When I was working there, everything was made in Italy, and like, I remember they started moving a little bit of production to Tunisia. I don't know if that's the current situation, but I remember unpacking jeans and unpacking the jean and looking at it and being like, oh, this one's made in Tunisia. And I could tell. Even if it was like the same wash code, I'm when I get into something, I was really into something, and I think at my time at Diesel, I was very into the history of the brand, and I prided myself on knowing as much about the brand as possible, and I could tell, but I think I was probably like maybe the average Diesel customer probably wouldn't tell, but I could. I thought it was kind of interesting that I could tell. There was something about them that obviously seemed different, but but I don't think the customers noticed. So, anyways, I don't know where I'm going with this. Next thing, do you guys work with agencies or distributors, or you spread your selling only at the trade shows? So we sell directly to our customers, pretty much everywhere. Korea is the only exception where we have a partner there who kind of handles the market for us, and that's Modeman. So you'll notice that the pricing in Korea is actually pretty close to what it is in any other region, and we've kind of worked it out with him in that respect, so that you don't see any like giant price spikes. So aside from Korea, we deal with every market personally. But back in the day, Modeman's been an unbelievable partner with us for pretty much the beginning. And, over the years, oh, man, I'd love to tell this story, but I'm getting cut off. I got 20 seconds left, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thanks for joining me on another live stream. If you've watched both of them today, you're a real champ. I'll have this up on YouTube